U.S. presidential nominees Donald Trump and Joe Biden are promising dramatically different abortion-related policy goals if elected president next week. In a letter to pro-life leaders last month, President Trump said if reelected, he will continue the transformation of the federal judiciary with judges who do not legislate an abortion agenda from the bench, overcome the Democratic filibuster in Congress to pass pro-life laws like the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act and the No Taxpayer Funding for Abortion Act. Trump also promised to fully defund the big abortion industry, such as Planned Parenthood, of our tax dollars. Meanwhile, on the campaign trail, Democratic nominee Joe Biden has vowed to codify Roe v. Wade, restore federal funding for Planned Parenthood, restore the Affordable Care Act's contraception mandate, and rescind the Mexico City policy, which stops U.S. taxpayer funding of the abortion industry overseas. To put all of this into perspective and to answer abortion-related campaign questions, we're joined now by our pro-life panel via Skype. Marjorie Dannenfelser is president of the Susan B. Anthony List and co-chair of Pro-Life Voices for Trump. Dr. Christina Francis is a board-certified OBGYN and chair of the board of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Thank you both for being here. Dr. Francis, we'd like you to start to clear up misconceptions about abortion on the campaign trail, and specifically late-term abortion. During the one and only vice presidential debate, Vice President Mike Pence said, quote, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth, late-term abortion. The Washington Post fact-checker responded with this: neither Biden nor Harris supports late-term abortion and infanticide. They do not support funding abortion up to the moment of birth. Dr. Francis, media outlets also frequently say late-term abortion is not a medical term. As a medical doctor, what is meant by a late-term abortion, and how common are these procedures?
Well, absolutely, in this election year, as in many other election years, the issue of abortion has become highly politicized. But women's lives and the lives of preborn children, they really deserve more than these word games that people are trying to play. As medical professionals, we use the term heart attack all the time, yet that's not a medical term. It's a term that we use so lay people can understand when we're talking about myocardial infarctions. The phrase late-term abortion is very similar. It in and of itself is not a medical term. However, it describes what is happening. So typically, this is referring to abortions that happen at about 20 to 21 weeks or later in pregnancy. And while these don't comprise the bulk of abortions that happen in this country, it does comprise about 1% to 2% of abortions that happen here. And so when you look at the number of abortions that happen in this country every year, that is still a very significant number of children who are killed through abortion, either around or after the point of viability where they could survive outside of their mothers.
Marjorie, can you clarify where the Biden-Harris ticket stands on abortion? Your group also frequently states they support late-term abortion.
That's right. They do. Up until birth, both of them have been on record voting against everything that would prevent this. Every single opportunity that both of them have had in the Senate, they have voted down. They have been the reason that we could not get even a 20-week bill passed in the United States Senate. Such a modest and compassionate thing. They both also believe that the court should continue to affirm Roe versus Wade, which would prevent states from having any other position than their particular position. The consequence of this election is tremendous. That you could not have two more different sets of opinions than on the Biden ticket and the Trump presidency. There just couldn't be more different. And there's no question that they will follow through on every promise that they've made to have taxpayer funding of abortion up until birth. It's just what they believe. They believe that it's health care. They don't see any reason why you wouldn't do it.
Dr. Francis, on this subject of late-term abortion, can you explain what happens if a pregnant woman's life is in danger? Is abortion ever necessary in that situation?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. At APLOG, we stand for women receiving all of the information that we have at our fingertips. And unfortunately, I think this is something that is used to scare not only women, but voters as well into supporting abortion. And there absolutely are heartbreaking times when women are facing life-threatening complications of their pregnancies. However, if this happens beyond the point of viability, there is absolutely zero reason why an abortion would need to be done. You simply deliver the patient and you take care of baby and you take care of mom. In those very rare circumstances where they happen prior to the point of viability, which I have been a part of, then sometimes we do need to recommend a premature delivery for the mother in order to save her life. I can think of many times that I've sat at a patient's bedside and discussed this with them and cried with the woman and her significant other as we talk about the fact that that she is experiencing this complication, and so we do need to do an early delivery. However, that is not an elective abortion, and in fact, it can be done in a way that preserves the dignity of that preborn child so that the parents can hold that child and grieve over the child. But especially when we're talking about pregnancies that are at 21, 22 weeks and beyond, where that baby can survive outside of mom, then absolutely, as physicians, our responsibility is to take care of both of those patients. And so we can do that by delivering mom and giving baby excellent health care, as well as giving mom that excellent health care. Medical advancements in the last even 5 years have become so significant that now we can talk about babies being born at 22 weeks and potentially surviving.
Marjorie, President Trump in 2016 campaigned on defunding Planned Parenthood. He's campaigning on that promise again this year, but recent annual reports reveal that federal funding to Planned Parenthood increased under his administration. Can you react to that news? And what is your message to pro-lifers who don't trust Trump will follow through on pro-life promises?
Well, he's absolutely already followed through to the extent that the executive branch can allow him in every single way that he could. With the support of pro-life people and pro-life America, he has cut funding, $60 million worth through the Title X program, which is a small portion of the overall Medicaid dominated funding of Planned Parenthood. He's also cut off funding in a far more dramatic way internationally, exporting abortions through our funding of organizations who counsel and further abortions in foreign nations. There's a robust debate about what the executive branch should be doing and what shouldn't be doing, but we must acknowledge that there are limits in what an executive order can and can't accomplish. We at Susan B. Anthony List are looking at different ways to handle that, and it's just been tough. This president is the most pro-life president operationally in history. Hands down, I've been involved in policy here on Capitol Hill and beyond for decades. And he has operated as the most pro-life president in history. He's opposing, of course, the most pro-abortion ticket in history. Never been a moment of greater contrast and a moment of such import when the judges on the Supreme Court and other federal courts are looking at possibly allowing states to start to limit abortion. And to have that rug pulled out from under us right now would just be a tragedy. Millions and generations of children to come.
Well, I wish I could speak to you both more at length, but that wraps our conversation for this week. Thank you so much, Marjorie Dannenfelser and Dr. Christina Francis. Thank you.
Thank you.